Welcome to Rhyme We're on the Road from Shenandoah National Park. That is Ann. I am Scott. We are inside of Alley, a little bit of a thunderstorm behind us here this evening in Shenandoah National Park, but we've made it here safely, and we're excited to announce our second stop on this trip in just a moment, because you were all very helpful in helping us with the stop we're on right now. But before we get to announcing that, the trip up here, it was one of our longer drives. I think it's going to be in the top 5 longest drives that we have in the entire trip. It was about 8 hours from door to door from South Carolina here to right outside of Harrisonburg, Virginia, but it went well.
It did, because those 8 hours included 4 stops where we stopped at rest areas, had a picnic lunch, and so we just took our time. Traffic wasn't too bad. Scott drove really well. And we made it here safely.
Yeah, safely is the key. That'll be the key for the entire trip. A couple things about the truck and the rig put to the test. Both did very well. I thought the truck was exceptional pulling. We were getting about 13 miles a gallon until we got up into the high grades of Virginia, right. And then it went down from there. But as far as the difficulty in pulling Alley on some of those grades, it was no problem. Now, we'll hit some more difficult grades as we go along this trip, but for the one trip, it went well. The way you packed everything into Alley, we didn't have any major movements either.
No, the inside was great. There was just a couple canned goods that just kind of fell over on top of another canned good. But of course, we're packed in here.
Yes.
We joked this is probably the heaviest we've been, and we're still under for our pin weight. But just by a little bit. But this is probably the heaviest we're going to be, because I brought in a lot of extra supplies that we had at home. And so as we use those, I'm not going to have to replace them, as quickly until we get down to just, 1 or 2. So I was happy with all that.
Yeah, I was too. You just never know until you take it for a long drive through different terrain. Yeah. How both the truck and the rig will handle, but
and some of the roads were bumpy, and they weren't just South Carolina roads.
That's right. That's right.
It was some of the North Carolina and Virginia roads were just as bumpy as South Carolina is known for.
Yeah, and I would say the drive up very beautiful. Especially once we got into 81, going up the grades into the mountainous areas, just very pretty drive. So highly recommend that as well. Leo did good as well. If people are checking on him, he didn't sleep a lot, which is good, because once he got here, he crashed, but he didn't whine. He wasn't upset. He didn't have any anxiety. He seemed to just kind of go with the flow.
He was going with the flow, and another reason why we stopped, it was good to get him out, let him stretch his legs as well.
I think we've had a picture of this. If not, I'll link it into this video, of our QR code on the back of Alley. We've got a QR code that goes to this YouTube channel. We had one group of young guys, right? And they drove up beside us, and they had on their phone the YouTube channel, because they had scanned it from the QR code.
And they were laughing at us and showing us. They were like, look, look, look. So it was fun to realize that the QR code's working, and people are going to find us that way as well.
Yep. We also had a few folks on YouTube comment on our last video. They had passed us, or we had passed them, and they had taken a picture of the QR code, and they
they passed us.
It was our first trip. We were gonna stick to the speed limit, right?
Right.
Yes, they probably did pass us. So we appreciate people doing that. If you see us on the road and you get the QR code, put a comment. They put where they saw us, what interstate, kind of near what town. Yeah. They also put where they were going, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. No, I think that was it's doing exactly what we wanted it to do.
All right, so now to our second stop. By the time we post the Shenandoah National Park review, which we are going to do, our video from the park itself, and we've got a lot of great things to show you from there. But ahead of that, we want to make sure that we find out what to do in our next stop, because by the time the Shenandoah video post, will already be in our next stop. So where are we going next, Ann?
Next, we are heading to Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is actually a little south of where we are, southeast. But don't let that fool you. It's not meaning we're turning back and going south. You'll find that out once we go to our next stops there. But it is across the Shenandoah Mountains, kind of a couple of miles from the Potomac River, just south of Washington, D.C. So lots going on there, a lot of Civil War stuff. I know that'll be a primary part of where we're going to hit a few things going through. We've both been to Washington, D.C., but if you have some type of major recommendation that's maybe off the beaten path there, you can give us that as well. Who knows? Maybe we'll decide to go in there. I want to bike on the Potomac. I think that would be really cool. And so if you have some suggestions about that, that would be good as well. Any that you want other than the breweries and the wineries and places to eat?
Places to eat. Are there any good places to eat? Now, of course, we're not going to eat out every day, but it's nice to have some options to choose from recommendations from you.
All right, there you go. It's Fredericksburg, Virginia, and that's stop number 2. When we see you next, we'll have the whole review of Shenandoah National Park. We're having a great time here despite the little thunderstorm here this afternoon. So Instagram, it's at
Reimer on the Road.
Yep, and we try to reply to your comments there. Of course, YouTube, you're here now. It's Reimer on the Road, and that's Ann, and I'm Scott. Thanks for following along with us. We appreciate all our friends and those that don't quite know us following us along. It's been a lot of fun so far. And remember, do it today.